All right. Next one. Dear Bill, you ruined The Hobbit. He said, I'm a big fan of the podcast and your comedy. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of looking up your comedy on YouTube and came across the clip where you took a shit on Lord of the Rings. You know what's funny? I don't even remember doing half of this shit. He said it was the scene where the Gandalf summons Shadowfax, the Lord of all horses. Oh, Jesus. And you pointed out how ridiculous that was. Oh, I remember that. I am the Lord of all horses. It's just so fucking over the top. He goes, I don't consider myself to be a big nerd, but I do love Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and all that nerd stuff. I like all of that shit. I watched The Hobbit for the first time yesterday, and every time they said something ridiculous, I pictured your ginger mug going, oh, Jesus. I was literally laughing every 30 seconds. Well, there you go then. I turned Lord of the Rings into a comedy for you. You know, I saw a clip of one of those things where the guy just looks like and he has elf ears, and he talks to the I'm assuming a wizard. You know, why don't wizards ever get a haircut? You know, why don't they ever have take a shave? Why can't you be a clean cut wizard? Are you so busy moving fucking mountains? You know, somebody get him one of those little toiletry bags. The straight razor. I was watching one of those things, and I don't remember where the fuck I was at. Was I on a plane, or was I watching TV? It's all running together at this point. My age, the days fly by so quick, you can't even remember. Did I dream that? Or did my neighbor say it? I can't even fucking remember. But I was watching one of those elf movies, and the fucking lead dude with the Karl Malden nose and the Spock ears, he found a ring. Now, for some reason, I thought the ring, the Lord of the Rings, like if you had the rings, I thought the rings were like, you know those magic rings that hacky magicians pull apart? I thought that they were that big. It looked like you found a wedding ring. I don't fucking know. Anyways, so he said he was laughing every 30 seconds. Whatever am I? He said, I hope you're happy that my enjoyment of The Hobbit was a casualty on your war on nerds. I don't have a war on nerds. I just call them out on their shit. How arrogant is that? I just try to keep them honest. I do think that they should teach nerds how to fight rather than trying to stop bullying, because you're not going to end bullying. You know? It's like I started watching the Ultimate Fighter, where they have the women fighters now, and I'm telling, when I watch those women fight, I get like psyched for them. Going, like, I hope some pervert tries to grab her ass. Like, I hope a rapist, like, I would never wish that on any of them, but for the love of God, the next time a rapist tries to rape a woman, like, if she has the fucking skills that the women on the Ultimate Fighter, I mean, it's just going to be a great day for humanity. You got to see that show, dude. These women, like, for the most part, they spar with men because I don't think there's enough women in the sport or whatever. So these guys are kind of half-assing it, and the women are going like, it's okay to hit me in the face. I'm just sitting there like watching the guy fighter still pulling his punches, because it just goes against everything that you were taught and everything that is just right in the world. To ball your fist up and actually swing and punch a woman is just like, I just don't think Christmas would ever be the same after that. Like, it would just be something. You just would lose something. But anyways, I mean, they like, I can tell you without a doubt, every woman on that show would beat the living shit out of me. I wouldn't have a prayer. There's nothing you can do. Once that mixed martial arts, you know, if a woman, look, a woman boxer, you have a chance. You can outweigh her, and you can just fucking just shoot her legs and fucking put her on her back and just smother her with a pillow from the couch, right? You got a shot. But that UFC shit, you take them to the ground, and then what? Then they're going to fucking put you in an arm bar. They're going to choke you out. It's going to be over. So, of course, me, being a guy, being a fucking pig, I of course, got to look at him in a sexual way. And I'm like going like, all right, how do you rock that girl's world in the fucking bedroom. And I don't mean the girly ones. I mean the fucking ones that are like the one who's a champion. The heavyweight champion or whatever. Like I don't know what her name is. But that one, I was just sitting there going, all right, what would she like in bed? She is going to go one way or the other. She is either exactly what you think she is, you know? Like the fucking Chicago Bears. They're exactly what we thought they were. We let him off the hook. She's either exactly what you think she's going to be, where she's going to be dominant and fucking holding you down, / scaring the shit out of you, wondering if she's going to rip your dick off. Or I would actually bet, I don't know, if you went the other way, that she would actually be submissive. She'd be so sick of beating the shit out of guys down in the octagon that she would actually, almost like one of those fucking Wall Street guys that's calling all the shots and then it just gets so fucking sick of dominating the entire fucking planet that late at night goes to one of those S&M things and gets on a swing with one of those orange balls in his mouth. I don't fucking know. But that's the shit I think of when I watch that show. You should definitely watch The Ultimate Fighter. Dude, they had this woman. She looked like a fucking librarian. Or, you know, this nerd. She lost. But I just thought it was fucking awesome just looking at her going like, look at that woman. Like, you would have no clue. You'd have no clue that, you know, if you talk some shit to her that she would just start raining elbows down on you. I think it's amazing. It's really fucking amazing. Anyways, let's get on with the so I guess I ruined the podcast for this guy. I got to read the last paragraph here. He says, also, it might be a good idea to watch the movie and record your reactions. Oh, dude, I can't sit through that shit. It's too fucking long. He goes, there's a scene where a wizard called Radagast the Brown is being chased by wargs, big wolves, riding a sleigh pulled by bunny rabbits. Dude, this movie, like, I would think that more like people who were into like hallucinogens would actually watch this movie because that actually sounds fucking pretty amazing. He says, Gandalf goes, you can't outrun these wargs. They are vermilion wargs. The other wizard actually responds, there are... these are, and then he says in parentheses, some corny fantasy place, rabbits. I'd like to see them try. Oh, so he goes, you can't outrun these wargs. They're vermilion wargs. And he said, well, these are Lilliputian rabbits. I'd like to see them try. That's actual fucking dialogue. He goes, and then they actually zoom in on his face with a look of pseudo badass determination. You know what, dude? I think I'm going to watch that movie. I think I'll eat up like a fucking pot cookie. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't want to do that, though. I don't want to put that on YouTube. Me fucking high, giggling like a fucking schoolgirl, watching some wizard on a fucking rabbit. I don't want to do that publicly. I don't want to do that publicly. All right, Carrie Underwood. He said, she's a singer, right? And he said, I recently listened to your podcast. Or is that one of those guys with a woman name? You know, like that Shamar guy, whatever the fuck his name is. Does the hair products and also acts in movies, doesn't he? I can't remember what his fucking name is. He goes, I recently listened to your podcast concerning the song Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood. Very funny, by the way. You might be interested to know how she has a new song. She has a new song out that takes that theme to a completely new level. In the song Two Black Cadillacs, a woman discovers her husband is cheating on her. Apparently, the mistress didn't realize he was married because she and the wife collaborate on murdering the guy. Not just destroying his truck and humiliating him in front of a new girl, they end the guy's life. Here are a few lines from the end of the song. All right, it says, yeah, they took turns laying a rose down, threw a handful of dirt deep into the ground. He's not the only one who had a secret to hide. So I'm thinking about writing my own country song. The title might be something like Cold Dinner, Raw Knuckles. Yeah, well, you know, that's one of those double standards that you understand why it exists. You know, it's not like women go around killing guys all the fucking time. When it really comes to violence, guys do it more to women than the other way around. And it's one of the things that makes it, being a guy, funny. Because if a woman actually, like, right to the point of, like, getting your dick cut off by a woman, like, it's just considered funny. Like, well, dude, she cut your dick off? Like, other guys just think it's hilarious. We're not going to wear pink, you know, for all the guys who got their dicks fucking sliced off and thrown in a garbage disposal. We're not. We're just going to laugh at you. Whatever. You know what I really hear that? I really don't hear that as an anti-man thing. I hear somebody who's struggling to find a follow-up hit and is going back to the well. Possibly one too many times. But then again, I listened to AC/DC, and they had like 3 or 4 themes that they have been doing for 40 years, and I think they sound better than ever, right? They sing about their balls, the devil, women, and electricity. And it's worked for them. So good for her. Good for her. Maybe next one will be like the guy comes back like a zombie, and she has a relationship with a zombie, and then he cheats on her. And then I don't know what she does. However, you kill a fucking zombie. I'd have to watch Lord of the Rings to figure that one out. Advice on having a baby. She had a baby, man. She had a baby. Advice on having a baby. Hey, Bill, I need some advice. You're talking to me? What the fuck? I'm nowhere near that. He said, my wife and I are both 27 years old. She is a graduate from college and working. I'm getting a master's degree and will not be done for another 2.5 years. The issue is she is getting to the point where she wants to have a baby. Not now, but sometime right after I graduate. I, on the other hand, am not wanting a baby anytime soon. But by the time I graduate, I will have been in college for nearly 8 years. After I graduate, my wife and I will have a dual income of well over $100,000 a year. I grew up in a fairly poor family. I worked hard to get my schooling, so I want to enjoy the rewards. I want a nice apartment, nice things, and to travel the world. If we just start having kids, we won't be able to travel, and if we just have kids right after I graduate, I'll go from a life of stress from school to a life of stress from parenthood. But I understand my wife's concern. If we wait until we are 33 or 34 to start having kids, we could have some trouble conceiving. And if it takes us too long, she could give birth to a mentally challenged child, which does run in my family. Jesus Christ, dude, this is one of the more serious ones. I love my wife and plan on being with her the rest of my life. It's just a shame that my goals are to travel and have nice things, and her goals are to start a family. So what do you think, Bill? Any advice? That's some pretty heavy shit there. Well, I don't understand why when you're going to school right now that you guys can't save up a little bit of money and go to Aruba for a few days. You can do little mini ones. You know what I mean? I think there's a way to kind of do both. And I think if you express all your concerns to your wife and just say, look, I don't want to be that couple that just goes from school to having kids, and then once we have kids, all we do is just do the kid thing. I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you here. Fuck. I definitely understand. I mean, you went from a life of poverty right to a life of school, and then you're going to go right to a life of being a parent. When do you actually get to sit back and enjoy a nice flat screen TV, watching some sports, or maybe go travel in Europe or something like that? Look, dude, you could do this. You could have a kid. I don't know how close you are with, the parents on either side. I think you can have your cake and eat it. Why don't you just have a fucking kid and then also save up for a fucking epic 10-day trip somewhere through Europe, and then just make a pact with your wife and just say, listen, once every 2 years or once every whatever, I want to go on a trip, and we'll leave the kid behind or the kids behind. My parents did that. They went to Vegas, and my grandparents came to town. It was great. We ended up developing a relationship with our grandparents. It was a good thing, and it was also good socially. It was good for us as kids to have a different sort of disciplinary dynamic Jesus Christ. I remember I tested my grandmother, too, and she broke a fucking wooden spoon. Would have been over my head, but I got my arm up and I blocked it. I kept messing. I saw her, the way we were renting this, lived in a duplex when I was a kid for a certain number of years, and the way we had it set up was it went kitchen, living room, and then dining room. So you had to walk through the living room. We kind of altered the living room and kitchen a couple of times, trying to figure out which was best. And this was just a period where there was, it went kitchen, and then we had the living room, and then we were using the other room as a dining room. So anyways, there was this old shitty rug, and there was a hole in it. So my mother had put a throw rug over the hole on the floor. So I saw my grandmother walk by through the living room as she was setting the table, and she saw the throw rug was messed up, and I just heard her mumble to herself. She said, "Now, why does this keep getting messed up?" So she walked into the kitchen. That was literally my cue. She'd straighten it out, walked into the kitchen. So I said, all right, fuck. So I got off the couch and I messed it up and went over and I went back and I sat down. So then she comes walking out with the dishes or the food, and she sees it again. She goes, "Now, what just happened? I just straightened this out." So she straightens it out, goes in the dining room, walks back into the kitchen, and then I got up and I messed it up again. She came third time, sees it again, and she doesn't fucking say anything, which should have been a warning to me. So she straightened it out, and then she walked into the kitchen and turned the corner, and I got back up again to go mess it up. And right as I'm grabbing it to mess it up, I hear this stomp, and she took a quick step back and looked back out, and right in the middle of it, saw me messing it up, and she just had this wooden spoon in her hand and just came fucking flying at me. Like, if it was an axe, I wouldn't be here, right? If it was a hatchet, I would have been dead. She came in like Billy Bob when he kills that country singer, right? Came flying at me. I just remember crouching down and putting my arm up, and it fucking snapped in half over my forearm. She had this look of anger on her face, slammed it down, snapped it over my arm, and then she just, after it snapped, she just went, "Well, that's the end of that spoon." And then she just walked back out into the kitchen, and that was it. So I think that's a good thing if they stay. If they stay with their grandparents. I think you can do both. I think as a couple, if you really sit down and you say what's important to you, and this is very easy for me to say, not having a child and having it completely consume your life. Who knows, your priorities might change or whatever. But there's also something to say, too, that if you start early, I mean, if you started now, you're 27, your kid would be 18 when you're 45, my age right now, and then you can travel 45, kids out of college. By the time you're 49, then you have your golden years, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, depending on if you eat right and you juice, you can live right up to fucking 90 and you can go see the goddamn world. But there's no reason why you can't do that right now. Even though that you're in school, there's no reason why you can't go to Puerto Rico or go to Hawaii. There's some beautiful cities up in Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal is fucking tremendous. There's all beautiful cities here in the States. There's all kinds of things that you can do, and you can do them really cheaply when you don't have any kids. Dude, literally just backpack it. Just put a backpack on, stay in fucking hostels. Who gives a fuck? Just go. I would just say go and do it. I would just, do it now. Do it now. But I think that you can do both. And I also say everybody I know who's ever had a kid has never regretted it. Never, ever regretted it. So, but I think it's also important that if you do something like that to not lose yourself in all of it. All right, there. I've said my piece. All right. Alcohol problem. Hey, Bill, I love the podcast. Anyways, I am 25-year-old male, and I'm starting to come to terms with the fact I have an alcohol problem. I drink 6 days a week and black out at least once a week. All right, well, the only saving grace you have is you're 25, so you might just be a little immature. I don't know if you're an actual alcoholic, but let me read the rest of this. He says, I drink 6 days a week, blank out at least once. The nights I get really drunk, I really regret doing it and regret my actions. Nothing serious, just phone or text conversations I have with people. I've considered going to AA, but never have gone through with it. I finally quit smoking 2 months ago, and am worried if I try to quit drinking now, I will start going crazy. I know you have always mentioned you are stupid, but I honestly agree with most of the advice you give out. Well, thank you. He said, my question is, do you think I should try and quit cold turkey, or are there any other options I can take? One of my concerns with quitting completely is that most of my friends drink and go out on weekends. And I don't want to risk losing all of my social life and seeing me friends. You got all Irish there. And seeing me friends. Appreciate the advice. All right, dude. All I can do is just tell you what has worked for me when I'm not drinking. And the first 2-3 days are brutal. Because all you've gone is 2-3 days, and there's definitely that feeling of, well, if I drink now, I can start over again. I'm just trying to make up 3 days. But if you can get through the first 2-3 days, once you get to the fourth day, it's like, all right, I got a nice little streak going here. Like I'm up to 6 days right now. And one of the hardest things to do is when you go out socially with people. But I found that all I have to do, because I don't know how, dude, if you're a full-on alcoholic and you have the disease, it might be harder for you. And you really should probably, I would say, talk to a recovered alcoholic. But if you're like me, all it takes is going out to the bar that first time when everybody's drinking and you just order I try to stay away from soda and club soda because then, I mean, that shit's not good for you either. And I usually just order the cranberry juice and deal with the departed. Well, what are you on your period? Jokes that everybody does. I usually just go, I don't even do cranberry and soda. I just do cranberry juice straight up with a lime. And I just sort of nurse that. And then I just kind of drink waters. And you're actually, you just got to do that one night. And then you've kind of set up a new social experience that you're comfortable with. And you can still go out. And I got to tell you, you get a distinct advantage when you're sober and everybody else is basically getting fucked up because they're kind of, first of all, it's really entertaining to watch people just sort of roofie themselves. And you get through watching their behavior, you get to see all the dumb things that you've done. So you get to, without judging your friends, you just sort of get to be like, wow, I was doing that. And especially with alcohol, I always say judgment's the first thing to go. And I don't know. I think you also have a better chance of meeting a really nice woman if you're the sober one because you're going to come off as responsible. And also, if your friends are also hitting on her and they're all sloppy drunk, you're going to look even better yourself. So I would, if you're not feeling AA, which I understand, if you just try... what it is, I don't know. I have to replace the activity. Like this week I decided, that I was going to stop drinking. So then what I did was I dove into playing drums. And I'm doing that Mike Johnston 10 Days to Faster Hands workout. So I just sort of replace, like at night. I just sort of like, okay, I'll go downstairs and I'll do the practice pad thing. And, I started working out. You know what it is, dude? You got to replace the time that you're drinking and doing dumb shit with shit that's also fun, but you're sober doing it. Because for me, it's like if I just don't drink and I'm just sitting around doing nothing, that's going to make me want to drink because it's just like, well, I usually go out and drink and have fun right now. But if I'm actually doing something else, like went out and I saw a movie last night, you fill up the time. Dude, learn how to cook. There's all kinds of, you learn a fucking second language. There's all kinds of things, dude, that basically you're in your 20s right now and, you're trying to appeal to the opposite sex here. So, if you can add some shit to your game, you're going to move up in the draft. You're going to get a better woman here. If you're fucking bilingual, what woman doesn't like that? If you're sober and responsible, she's going to like that. Who knows? You learn to play a couple of songs on a flamenco guitar. You take her out on a fucking rowboat. You're in there. Bunch of great. Nothing bad comes from becoming sober other than you are bored shitless. But your head gets smaller because you drop all that booze weight. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. You definitely won't regret it. But like I said, if you got the disease and that thing, you're going to need more professional help, and I would actually seek out a fellow alcoholic. And then I would use AA and all of that shit. You know, I don't know. I'm just a control freak, and I don't like people telling me what to do. So I would have to use it in a way that worked for me. You know, I'm not going to be standing down there smoking cigarettes, eating donuts, you know, talking to those people with their yellow fingers and shit. Like, I couldn't do it that way. I got buddies of mine, they go, every once in a while, they go to a meeting, you know, like the way I go to church every once in a while, fucking once a year they'll do it. But whatever works for you. But nothing bad ever comes from cleaning up your act. So I hope that helps you. All right? Okay. That's the podcast for this week, everybody.